Thank you for listening to EsportsNext Podcast, sponsored by EventPipe. EventPipe is a modern approach to event housing management. Their software helps you quickly and easily manage your event housing, allowing guests to choose from multiple hotels and room types. Wow your guests with the ease and simplicity of EventPipe.
Welcome to another episode of the EsportsNext Podcast. I am your host, John Davidson, alongside my lovely co-host, the founder of the Esports Trade Association, Miss Megan Van Petten. And today we have a special guest. We have Tim Brown of EventPipe, a longtime supporter of Esports Trade Association and the EsportsNext Conference. Tim, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, John. Happy to be here. Great to see you and Megan.
Absolutely. It's not as good as seeing you in person, which was about a year ago.
In person's always a lot more fun.
That's right. 100% agree. And so we're so looking forward to seeing you in person once again in Chicago, July 7th through 9th. To kick us off, to help remind our community or our new members who are brand new and aren't familiar with EventPipe, what is EventPipe and what service do you provide?
So EventPipe, we are a software company, and we work with event organizers and travel management companies who need software to manage their group hotel blocks. Think of us like a Shopify, but for event organizers, where you can use our software to put up and attach to your event site the ability to be able to capture reservations for hotel bookings. And you can then tap into our inventory, whether that's live inventory from hotels, and we're able to tap into additional discounts for closed user groups, or you can contract directly with the hotels using our software to manage that entire process, from sending out your request for proposal and RFP all the way to signing that contract, and then being able to add on the payment engine, whether Stripe or another payment engine of your choice, to be able to collect credit card information, have deposits taken. So it's really kind of that's why I think of us as kind of a Shopify-like experience for event organizers.
There's so much more than people realize to just, like you said, from RFP to signing the contract, and then all the way to fulfillment and, working with the housing inventory and beyond.
Yeah, and a little bit of our history is that we really got started around sports, really in the traditional kind of stick and ball kind of sports and youth sports, particularly a lot of travel sports. My daughter plays travel softball, which has been one of the connections for me back to the company, and that I'm a user of our own software on weekends, and that for most of the summer, because we have to go out and we're booking travel for every weekend. But so much like kind of with esports. You have these communities that we're able to then serve. And it's one of the reasons why, we're very excited to be a partner with ESTA and a partner of the esports industry, is that, we see that the direct application of what we do from traditional sports into esports, and this can really be a revenue driver and an opportunity to really make a complicated process a lot easier for those event organizers.
Yeah, when I think about just what you do and just the process of booking hotels, RFPs, all these things, this is a space where probably a lot of people don't even know what they don't know. And my mind goes to availability and cost, but then you go to, wait a minute, monetization. And what are some of the things that you experience with some of your customers that are surprising to them, or benefits of EventPipe that they're like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know I could take advantage of X? What are some of those things that you hear?
I think for smaller event organizers, the reality is that their commission and rebate revenue available to them. This is part of the hotel's marketing budget, and that having kind of that playbook, and we've got kind of our guide on best practices in using EventPipe and how to do this. You'd be able to negotiate kind of rates kind of with the hotels that, one, make an attractive rate for your guests, so that this way the guests win by staying at one of the hotels. The hotel's winning because you're helping drive traffic to them, and they're willing to then share part of that revenue back as a commission and rebate to the event organizer. So I think it starts with realizing, one, there's a revenue opportunity here. And then two is just the simplicity with which, we can make kind of that communication with the hotel, being able to contract with them for you to be able to kind of pass that information back and forth. And it really then enables an event organizer to capture all the data around their event, so that even if you're just getting started, not and thinking, well, we probably don't have enough volume really, or we're not willing to take the risk on an attrition clause, meaning that you're signing up and guaranteeing kind of the hotel block for the hotel. Well, if you're using one of the, the live versions of our site, you'd then be able to kind of capture the data, and so that next year you can make an informed decision of, do I want to take a little more risk and contract for a wholesale block kind of with those hotels because I can make a little more money, or am I better off just kind of using the set and forget option and being able to still collect a commission off of revenue, but I may not be able to negotiate a rebate on top of that for a wholesale block. So I think that for us, it's, we're at EventPipe, we're just trying to educate the industry on the art of the possible, and enabling, giving everybody the tools with which they can be able to maximize and optimize kind of, the ability to make money off of their events.
I think that has been so important for our industry, as we have so many event organizers, that they can have this small rebate. It's usually about what, 10% of the group.
Yeah, that's about right. Where it would be about, think of it as kind of, a 10 can be as high as maybe 15 or 20% in certain cases, depending on volume and timing, et cetera. But generally that, good rule of thumb, a 10% type of all-in kind of rebate commission on, if you're talking about a $200 room night, and somebody's staying on average 2 nights, that can be a $40 kind of commission. If you've got 110 attendees, $40 each, you're talking about a $4,000 kind of, revenue opportunity, versus kind of what could you get directly in sponsorship dollars, versus being able to provide a win-win-win here in terms of the, you're securing as a courtesy for your guests a block of rooms that they're able to get at a discounted rate. You're driving traffic to that. And as an event organizer, your audience is your IP. And so that in terms of your ability to bring an audience to a market, to then be able to demonstrate to the commissions and visitors bureaus, who, are looking to attract more and more events to each city, that here's your kind of, the past history. And because you have that data of knowing how many attendees, how many stayed overnight, you can then estimate the economic impact of that to those towns. So I think the data capture here is really at the core, so that this way, as an event organizer, you'd be able to then plan and optimize your event for the future, beyond then just kind of optimizing kind of what can you do for the event experience. Are there things that I can add into the shopping cart? T-shirt options, the merchandise. Are there any other kind of upsells, opportunities, experiences that you'd like to add in as that individual is going through to select the room to attend the event?
Yeah, and this is such a great solution for esports because we are such a travel heavy industry. And a lot of times, especially in event planning, those profit margins can get really, really thin. You have a number of different costs stacking up, and you're trying to get profit where you can. And so $4,000 can be extremely welcomed when you're trying to pull things together with all these different aspects. But from what we understand, Tim, the reason why we're having you on and featuring EventPipe again is this is not the first time your company has been featured on the EsportsNext podcast, is you have a new software that you're getting ready to launch. Tell us about Presto.
Yeah, so Presto is our version of moving into the live inventory, as I was describing, kind of it's available discounted inventory that we'd be able to tap into through other sources, where particularly if you're looking to either do it for a small group, or if you have a contracted block with a hotel, At a certain point, that contracted block's going to expire, and that you need to give the unused inventory back to the hotel because they're going to remarket those rooms. If you still need, but during those 2 weeks prior to the event, you still have people that would be looking for a room to be able to attend. So you'd be able to flip over then to our live inventory site, which at that point, you're tapping into the best rates available, and it's really easy to set up, and you don't have to negotiate with each hotel like you do for a contracted block. So that makes sense for a large event where you have the scale and you particularly want to provide a 6 or 9 month kind of lead time to open it up and to collect the reservations ahead of the event. But as you get closer, or if you're looking to do something that may be more of a last minute idea of like, let's do a meet and greet, or we've decided last minute to pull together kind of an esports tournament, you'd be able to set up kind of, using our Presto option coming this fall, where you'll be able to do that in terms of live inventory bookings, kind of really, very quickly and very easy to set up.
That's incredible. What led you down the road to developing this new technology? What opened your eyes to the need and the opportunity?
For us, it was more about just rounding out kind of the solution, and that the core solution that we built, kind of within and starting kind of within the sports industry was around youth sports, kind of this, for those who are collecting reservations for a tournament or for an event, that it could run the entire process. So it really started kind of on the enterprise side, working from RFP all the way through kind of the billing and collection for a large scale event. But for every one of those events, you still have kind of this period where the block's going to expire, but you still have, there's still rooms available at the hotel, and you still have guests that are seeking, to find a room rate. So we to make it easy for the event organizer, their guests, their participants, we wanted to round out our solution. It also opens us up, and it's been part of our vision from day one of how do we provide solutions that meet the needs of all size of event organizers, from those who may be looking to put on a small event for 50 or 100 guests, to those who are putting on, our core software, to date has worked, for all the way up to tens of thousands of guests, they're taking on a citywide event kind of, and may have, tens of thousands of room nights kind of associated with that. We can scale up to that size, but we also are looking to serve the needs of smaller event organizers who want to self-serve, that want to be able to use some software that they can plug into their website to be able to offer and market hotel rooms as part of their event.
What separates this from other booking engines? Why is it so revolutionary?
We think, one of the unique angles that we've taken is that this has been software that has been built for event organizers from the ground up. A lot of travel software has either been built from the hotel's perspective or it's from the airline's perspective, but really it hasn't been built around event organizers who are trying to manage large groups and provide those groups really with a seamless experience of, I want to buy my ticket, I want to book my room, I want to be able to get my add-ons and do it all within one checkout stream, rather than having to, go off and be sent to different sites as part of that process. So we've started with the hotel side, but we integrate also with registration and ticketing providers so that we can, behind the scenes, but from the guests and from the end user's perspective, it all looks like one single experience.
That's really cool. The for us by us model, right? There's so many things that are created that are from another group's perspective, that even in different industries, right? And it's like, well, why is this so clunky, or why isn't there this solution that really perfectly solves for my needs? And it's like, oh, well, the person who created the dominant service in the industry had this perspective or had this goal, and nobody else specifically from this side of the equation has done it. And so I think it's incredibly cool that you guys are taking the perspective of, okay, event organizers, we know you, we are you, there's no substitute for experience, right? So every single little detail of what do you confront, what are the questions you need answers to. what's plan B, C, D after plan A falls apart, which is a big part of live events. If I'm listening to you though, and I'm an event organizer, especially an esports organizer, I might be thinking I might be a little bit intimidated by this new software, but tell me, how intuitive is Presto?
Well, we're in the V1, so I think that it'll get right now as we're using it internally, kind of as a beta. There's a lot more we need to do in terms of streamlining it and making it. But our goal here would be to for an event organizer, or if they're working with a travel management company, that once they've set up an event, they have the choice to be either to add in contracted inventory, the non-contracted inventory, the live bookings, be able to have it automatically switch over from one to the other, kind of whenever the block's expiring. So there'll be a lot of automation that we are building into this. And I'm sure that if my product team was here in the room with me, they'd be kicking me under the table, because I'm throwing timelines that are pretty aggressive here. But we expect that we'll have this out kind of and introduced kind of into the market in the fall. We do have a working, version of this now, in beta, where we can, a lot of that streamlining is just work that we do behind the scenes. But it's giving us the view of how to build the automation, and to connect those dots together.
So you're telling me I don't have to learn to code. I don't,
No coding involved. I mean, we'll either today, somebody from our customer success team will walk you through the process to get this set up and do it for you. As we continue to progress with the technology, it'll become a lot more self-serve and intuitive and easy for particularly around smaller events, to get them set up quickly and easily, from start to finish.
I feel like it's important for our friends listening to know that we were beta once. And A, you have the same team that you started with. B, the turnaround time is usually less than an hour. And we had no problems, not any ever. We've just only had enhancements. And your team is delightful to work with, and they've made our events just a greater experience. So I have loved every process of it. So we'll sign up for being beta again for Presto. And I heard through the grapevine that there's incentives for the not-for-profits in the space, and you have a heart for giving back as a community and as a company.
Yeah, well, thank you, Meg, for the kind words. Like, it's one of the key reason that I'm here at EventPipe is because of our team. Like, we've got a fabulous team, and I get to work with some great people each and every day. But part of, as our kind of commitment and our interest in wanting to be a strong partner and supporter of ESTA and esports in general, is that we want to offer up to the members of ESTA that as they become partners of EventPipe, as they sign on, we're committing to give back a portion of our revenue, that we earn from ESTA members, back to the ESTA Foundation. We were super excited when the ESTA Foundation was launched this past year, and really see as a way for us to kind of give back, and how do we make this a win-win-win for everybody. And that we want your members to win by using the best software. We participate kind of in their growth and their ability to drive more revenue for their events, and we're able to then kick back to help drive the overall growth kind of the industry, and the education of new participants in the industry, to drive the success of esports and across the country. So we're looking forward to being a partner for a long time.
We greatly appreciate that. When you look at the esports space, obviously you guys for a few years now have been looking at the space and leaning in to support event organizers. How are you continuing to, or planning to engage the space moving forward to really support esports?
Well, I think, for us, we'll definitely be there in full force, kind of at the Esports Next. We want to be a part of this community, we've been investing the time and trying to build the relationships because we believe in the long-term growth of where esports is headed. I know it's kind of gone through the hype cycle but the I mean, esports in terms of an industry, just even relative to the rest of, even the movie industry kind of in total is beginning to dwarf it. And that, the interactivity, kind of the fact that it's at the cutting edge and you've got just such a great community of individuals that are involved in esports. It's a vertical that, we're very focused on at EventPipe, and we want to continue to serve.
Yeah, we really appreciate the partnership. And one of the things that I've done this a long time. I love association management. It's a labor of love for sure. One of the things I personally like more that I've never seen before is how many executives bring their kids and their adult children. So, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on at home with esports for you or video gaming and what it means to you as well?
Just there's a lot of passion about video gaming kind of in my house. I'd mentioned that so my daughter does travel sports, and she's really big into softball. And my son, who's 19, is working to develop his own video game, and very interested in the industry. And so yeah, there's a lot of energy and passion around here about video games. I used to be an active gamer, but I think over the last 20 years, my game has switched more to Excel than anything.
The skills do directly translate, though.
Oh yeah, all the
Probably
time.
the decision making and yeah.
What'd you play?
Back in the day, it was a lot of Halo.
Okay.
But yeah, and a lot of Madden were my games.
That's
But
right.
There's just something about seeing people light up when they talk about, what they play, whether it's still now or if it was back in the day. So it's good that we have an OG in the house. Thank you for sharing that, Tim.
definitely the O part, yeah.
Well, you mentioned Esports Next, Tim. It was fantastic to have you there last year. Why don't you share a little bit about, what you're looking forward to this year at Esports Next, or, the type of people who should look to connect with you in person there?
Yeah, so those who are either, in the industry where, there to support event organizers in terms of managing their travel, we work with a number of travel arrangers, travel management companies across sports and other verticals, as well as the event organizers themselves. If they're looking to manage this in-house, please come up to us, talk to, feel free to introduce yourself to me, my team. We'd love to kind of, show you the software, see how we can try to make your life easier and taking any of that process of dealing with hotels and trying to manage the hotels around your events. We're happy to do that. I look forward to just being able the opportunity to network with a bunch of fabulous people, get to understand kind of, where the direction that esports is headed kind of over the next 12 months and that longer term view, and just seeing kind of the growth of the community for year over year. And last year was fabulous, and look forward to seeing kind of how large it's growing and expanding this year.
Absolutely. Megan, you are probably closest to this event out of anybody. And I'm curious, what kind of the same question to you, what you're looking forward to Esports Next is. This is our, seventh event, I want to say, together, and it's getting bigger and better every year.
You know what I was thinking about this morning? It was right after
Coffee.
COVID. Pardon, coffee. Right after COVID. Nothing was really open yet, but people were walking around. And John, do you remember I spent like 40 hours? I'm not exaggerating, at least 40 hours. I walked the whole city of Chicago, and I walked through every single hotel to
Wow.
choose a venue. Do you remember that, John?
I don't remember that specifically, but I remember coming to Chicago and and walking through a few with you when I was in town.
So I bring that up because it's just amazing, even in a few short years, how events and housing have simplified. Because I would never need to do that anymore. I could put my RFP out, my request for proposal, out to the Chicago zip code and receive a bunch of opportunities to view hotels that were actually available. In the day, I didn't even know what I didn't even know, Tim. I literally went to every single hotel and I wanted to get out anyways.
Yeah.
I wanted to work out. I made it a fun. But that's like the old way of doing things. And that was just in, I want to say 2020 that I did that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did it, I structured it like every weekend. And there wasn't anybody in the hotel, by the way. All the doors were open. It was like the way COVID was. That's how it was. All the doors were open. I was just walking through, finding my own way to here we are with this event housing revolutionary software. So that's what I was actually pondering today.
Well, we
Well,
were founded in 2020, so that's why you couldn't find us before you did your hotel walk. So we were, at that point, we were more in stealth kind of, stealth mode and just beginning to develop the first versions of the software around, our initial client, and has been kind of our strongest supporter from day one. And but it's just, we've grown kind of beyond that. So hopefully you'll see more and more acceleration of being able to make events easier to organize kind of through our software.
Yeah.
absolutely. And one of those hotels is the hotel that we're staying at and hosting our event at. Megan, you want to tell people about?
That's a great story. So after my venture, which was a lot I've also done it in Vegas. I've gone through every Vegas hotel as well. And that was another structured site visit that I did every morning from about 5 a.m. to 7, like in 5 days. I walked every, so it's part
A lot
of
of
like,
steps.
yeah, it's a lot of steps. It's just something I truly enjoy doing. But boy, having EventPipe at my fingertips has been really great. And I love all the versions and I love
Reduced your exercise though. So if you were
Oh yeah.
trying to get more steps, we greatly encourage you not to use EventPipe.
Right.
But if you're trying to simplify your life and create efficiencies, we do encourage EventPipe. Do I have that right, Tim?
Or you can use EventPipe while you're on the treadmill.
See how solution-minded
We found
we
a
are.
solution.
So get this. So finally, John Davidson comes in. It's still 2020, I think. And
right.
we're deciding on our very first event in a hotel because of all the things that we've been through. And Tim, you'll love this story. I say to John, I have to show you where we're gonna have our first event. And then I'm gonna show you where we're gonna have our goal event. Someday we're gonna make it. So the someday was the Hotel Intercontinental where we're having our event, was where we had lunch, and it was where we set the dream to have our conference.
That's right.
Now,
we had lunch
the
in
dream's
Michael
coming true.
What's that, Tim?
The dream's coming true.
It sure is. Yeah, we had lunch in Michael Jordan's restaurant. They rolled out the red carpet for us because I was with MVP, and I was like just tagging along. And I'm so excited to have it there. I'm excited to have it around the NASCAR Chicago Street Race, which was voted best event of the year for 2023 by Sports Business Journal. And just the programming, the sneaker soiree, industry appreciation reception, the panels. It's going to be awesome. I'm super excited about it.
I am too. Looking forward to seeing everybody there.
Well, we appreciate your partnership and your support. You really are a gold standard for event technology, but more than that, just the community that you've created at EventPipe. It's an honor to work with all of you.
Thank you, Meg. I enjoy working with everybody here, and hopefully see everybody in Chicago.
That's right. One last question for you, Tim, is for people who are trying to get a hold of you, people who want to use EventPipe even before Presto rolls out, what is the best way for people to get in touch and figure out what their opportunities are to use your service?
Yeah, please come to eventpipe.com. Fill out a request for a demo. Somebody on our team will get back to you right away and follow up so that we can explore how best to use EventPipe for your event needs.
That's fantastic. Well, with that, Tim, we so appreciate your time being here. Your support of the Esports Trade Association is just fantastic, and we have so much gratitude for you and your team, and looking forward to seeing you and the rest of those listening in Chicago, July 7th through 9th for Esports Next. Thank you for joining us on the Esports Next podcast.
Thank you.